Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. It's your host, Rising Oblivion. Today, guys, I wanted to talk about some recent sales, some numbers, and things that have been going on with Persona 5 Strikers and how well they have been doing sort of around the world and here as well, the Steam sales, and what platforms did Persona 5 Strikers sell the best on. I figured during this whole Persona 5 Strikers craze, I'd try and make some content that aren't really spoilery, so there isn't a lot of stuff in the background. It's mostly just combat and stuff, so you don't have to worry too much about spoilers. But let's go over some of the stuff that has been going on with the numbers of Persona 5 Strikers sales, what platforms sold most, and stuff like that. So, Persona 5 Strikers was actually a best seller on Steam before the game actually even came out. A lot of this probably does have to do with the fact that it was available for pre-order, and the deluxe edition was also available on there to actually get the game early. And I think a lot of people that were going to get it on PS4 actually took the jump to Steam because of not being able to get that Steelbook. Eventually the Steelbook would come out, of course, but a lot of people already had their pre-orders and they just didn't want to do the refund and stuff like that. But Persona 5 Strikers was a best seller on there. And right as the launch week happened in the UK, it actually placed at number 5th for the best-selling game of that week. So, literally jumped all the way to number 5 for the best seller during the week in the UK. So, Persona 5 Strikers really took the cake when it came to the UK game sales, I guess you could say. And over in the US, I believe it was somewhere around 7 or 8. So, the US, I guess, didn't put it up there as high. But the UK had it at number 5. We had it around somewhere around number 7 or 8 when it actually came to its sales. But here's another cool statistic. So, 72% of physical sales were PS4 sales. So this is something I was very interested in, with having this game be available for Steam and having it available for Switch and the whole fiasco when it came to the Steelbook. So I figured a lot of the numbers were actually going to be infatuated more with it going to, people wanted the Steelbook on Switch, and people wanted to just either, if they had to choose PS4 or PC, they probably would pick PC. That's what I thought for the most part. But it looks like a lot of the, loyal fan base that sort of stayed on the PlayStation really kept to their guns and decided to buy on PlayStation and to actually buy the game physically. 72%, that's pretty damn high. That's almost 3/4 of all sales are physical PS4 sales, which makes sense. Most of the people are actually coming from Persona 5 Royal on the PS4, so that kind of makes sense that a lot of people were taking that jump to that. But I was still happy that the game was, actually came to PC and it was out for Switch. It's actually really nice to be able to see that multiple people from different places can, enjoy this game. I'm really happy about that. Let's move on to something else here. So, number 5 also in Taiwan and South Korea, selling 500,000 copies in Japan and Asia alone. So, that's 500,000 copies in, just the Asian part of the world. And they think just from Steam alone, from its release, had already sold somewhere around 50,000 to 100,000 copies. It's kind of hard to tell with Steam and using different things to find it, but you could say that we almost increased that number from somewhere around 50 to 100,000 from just Steam alone. The PlayStation stuff hasn't been necessarily, figured out yet, but we are pretty safe to assume that there are probably sales for Strikers somewhere in, 750,000 probably. It's probably going to reach 1 million within a month or two when it comes to sales for Strikers, which honestly is super cool, and I'm glad this game is doing well, because honestly, as I keep playing it, I end up just loving this game more and more as we keep going on. It seems to be really fun. The story is really good. I really enjoyed this game. I'm super hyped about it. And it also placed number 4th on Steam as well, I might add. Selling that many copies within release week, yeah, it's going to end up getting to number 4 for the week whenever it comes to actual Steam sales. Like I said, it was a bestseller on Steam, then it came out, and then it was number 4th on the most sold games for that week when it actually came to Steam. So, that means Atlus has 2 big-time sellers on Steam. So I kind of want to talk about what potential rewards might we see, or what might we actually see from Strikers being on Steam and being on these other platforms, and what that might mean for certain Game of the Year ending rewards and stuff like that. So Persona 4 Golden ended up winning the Steam Award for, I think, Best Controller Game, which is kind of crazy considering that the thing is a PS2 game, and it won after such a long time being ported to Steam. Finally, it then wins the controller support, and I believe it also won some other things as well. So I think that Strikers is actually going to be a very good contender when it actually comes to stuff like possible action RPG games, maybe even story games, and also potentially even the controller thing again, like we have with Persona 4 Golden. These are very console-like games, and I don't imagine that they're super fun to play with a keyboard and mouse, so I think a lot of people are going to be playing this with controller, and I would not be surprised if during some of these gaming events, if Persona 5 Strikers ends up winning the controller award, and potentially maybe some other things like, you know, JRPG awards and stuff like that. I would not be fully surprised if we end up seeing something like that in the future. And really, this all means good stuff for us. The awards it wins, the, you know, the numbers it gets, the amount of stuff it gets during, you know, the spot for the first week of sales, the amount of numbers it's had. We really had shown that how much we really want to have these games on PC and stuff like that. And this might influence potential things in the future from Atlus, such as, you know, PC ports or bringing stuff to other consoles as well. Just seeing how well it did on Switch alone could kind of tell that we do want to have these Persona games on Switch. So I know that the number said 72% physical copies on the PS4, but it still sold a hell of a lot of copies on Steam. 500, you know, or 50 to 100,000 copies on Steam is still a lot, man. I mean, that's so much. It's literally potentially a fifth of all the sales it had in Asia, you know, up until now. So that's pretty damn good considering that we're just one part of the world, really. Just releasing it to the English audience really, you know, boosted up its sales. And this type of thing is the attention we need to give Atlus for them to potentially bring other things over to other consoles. Seeing how big the amount of people really wanted this stuff for Switch and how many steelbooks were sold for the Switch version, that really kind of helps as well. Atlus might want to try and port more things over to Switch, seeing as how big the fan base is there, which makes sense. There's a ton of JRPGs and stuff like that happening right now on the Switch, so they really have a lot of audience there when it comes to JRPGs and stuff like that. But I think the Switch has always kind of had that. The real iffy thing has always kind of been PC. But with the success of P4G happening last summer, and then now we have Persona 5 Strikers on Steam, we really have given a good case for two best sellers during the week that they came out. And Persona 4 Golden winning awards, and now Strikers potentially also winning awards. We really have a good contender for two things, two solid pieces of evidence of why Atlus should start to port things over during the, you know, Persona 25th anniversary. You know, we have to think about what do these awards mean, what do these sales actually mean, especially during this year where it's Persona's 25th anniversary. We might end up seeing a lot of really, really cool stuff, and basically, guys, we sort of tell Atlus what to do with our pockets. So if they do something bad, we need to not get it. If we do something good, then we need to get it. And this game, honestly, has been so good, and I'm glad that it's something that's been happening here, even though the PC ports were a little bit clunky. But overall, I've never really experienced a ton of issues when it came to Persona 4 Golden. However, I haven't tried Strikers on Steam, but I got a lot of buddies, a lot of friends who've told me it's not been the best, but we'll have to see, you know, potential patches and stuff like that in the future. But I think that's going to wrap up this video, guys. Like, comment, subscribe for more content. Click the bell to be notified whenever I have another video come out. I also stream a ton, so you can click the bell to also be notified whenever I go live. But I think that's going to be it for this, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.